In this video, we'll discover the Salome and Asta files, which simplify the creation of a study from a previous one. First of all, the dump of the Salome study. This is a Python script, which contains the actions performed in the various Salome modules. It begins with the import and initialization of Salome. The Shaper module is included, with the creation of the sketch, lines, parameters, etc. The documentation provides the Python commands corresponding to each action in the interface. The Shaper study components section contains the names of the groups. The Smesh components section covers each action in Salome's mesh module, including assumptions, mesh creation, and mesh groups. The documentation provides the Python commands corresponding to each interface action. The Asta study components section is empty and corresponds to code Asta. Let's have a look at the files we can export. First, the command file in Python script format. This file contains the Asta commands. Python can be used to modify it, like creating loops, for example. The case study is now exported. This file contains the parameters for running the calculation, such as memory, time limit, and the names of the calculation's input and output files. We can see here that we're using both the command file and the mesh file. Let's take a look at how to export a mesh from Salome Mecha. Mesh export in MED format. Import of the HDF file. It contains the entire Salome Mecha study. All the contents of the Shaper module, the Mesh module, and the Asta study module are included, along with the results. We now create a new study by importing a Python file that will generate the new geometry and the new mesh. We change the radius dimension and the mesh name. We export the mesh directly. import and execute the Salome Python script. We see that the Shaper module contains all the construction elements and that the hole is smaller. The same applies to the Mesh module. We now import the mesh file. We can see that it only contains the group's names. Construction assumptions are not saved in the MED file. We now import the command file. Input and output files need to be redefined. The calculation can now be run via run. We'll show you another way to run an ASTA calculation. We copy and rename the command and export files from the first study to edit them. We change the names of the input files. These are the command and mesh files. We check that the unit in the COM file corresponds to the unit in the export file. We add the output file, whose unit here is 80. We add a mess output which will contain the screen of the terminal. We open the Salome Mecha shell in a terminal. Run calculation. In order to regain control and be able to post-process results directly via Python commands. You can also run it interactively using the -I option. The work is done and the result files are found in the working directory. We quickly visualize the result using the Paravis module from Salome, whose documentation can be found in the Help section.